outdoors have many tools to get across their message. We focus a lot on our vocal delivery, being clear in our diction and varying our inflection and pace to carry the listener's ear along. And we hone in on the emotional beats of the scene to create the proper effect. And we never underestimate the importance of body language. In fact, some of us are particularly gestury, not to name names. But particularly when it comes to stage acting, we're not always fully utilizing all of our face. This is especially evident now in the days of mask wearing, how important this general region is at conveying information. So, my name is Derek, I've been drawn poorly, and today we're talking about eye acting. Welcome to the channel for theater kids of all ages and the people who tolerate them. This is an exciting time for us because it's pointed out how much of communication skill is acting skill. Communication is acting. Is that a t-shirt? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to please like and subscribe while you're at it. I remind you up front, just in case your homemade bread finishes baking before we get to the end and you get distracted. At the time of this video, face masks have entered their second month of being the most controversial pieces of fabric you can print your own chin on, and there's a possibility that they may become a regular staple of public life moving forward. So let's look at the communication challenges that creates, and 2 acting tips that can help you overcome that, both in everyday life, and also in case we ever reach the point where we have to recite Hamlet in a surgical mask. And that definitely should be a t-shirt. First, how we read faces. Human communication is tricky. We've of course all been told already how only 7% of a message is interpreted by its content, 38% is delivery, and 55% is interpreting non-verbal cues. That's why I don't just hold one pose for an entire paragraph. It would start to freak you out even more than my poorly rendered fingers. How we use and interpret body language is heavily influenced by our culture, upbringing, and personal preference. We tend to view others through the prism of our own behaviors instead of theirs, and that leads to a number of misunderstandings. Facial expressions, however, are more universal. Emotions trigger muscle responses called micro-expressions that can change in the middle of a sentence. We look for those to provide context to what the speaker feels about what they are saying. The 2 major areas of the face that we are drawn to for this are the mouth and the eyes. So a mask is cutting off half of the data we rely on to interpret emotion. That can be very disconcerting. So how can a speaker compensate for that? First, animation. This is where the acting comes in. It's time to learn how to bite into that big ham sandwich. We gave similar advice in our video on how to adapt to acting online, that you have to put in more energy than you normally would. Overemphasize words and maintain eye contact throughout the conversation so you can keep the communication lines open. Especially if your mask is muffling your speech, this kind of excessive facial expression will help bridge the gap and get your message across. The listener may come across thinking you're a little overly caffeinated, but they'll know what you were trying to tell them. Also, keep it classic. Go with the big feelings that best match your dialogue. Now is not the time to go with subtlety and nuance. If you're trying to get across anger, furrow those brows and narrow those eyes. If you're happy, smile bigger and raise your eyebrows. If you're exasperated, roll those eyes back as far as they can go. Make the emotion big so you don't color it with micro-expressions. It's all about clarity of purpose. There'll be some further resources down in the description. I could recommend checking them out. So hey, head on over to the mirror and practice your big emotional faces. Hopefully you never have to belt out the 11 o'clock number with a mask on, but as an overly intense college syllabus once told me, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section about other ways you've used performance skills in everyday conversation. And be sure to share this with the side-eyers in your life, as next week we wrap up our study of socially distant acting by looking at webcam stage fright. Peace, and all good.